Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program,
Filipinos cast their votes to choose the country's next leaders.
Tama naman yung mga binoto ko.
And those who made it to the Senate's Magic 12 slowly unfolding. New names and younger candidates dominate the local posts.
Ito na po ang pagbabagong hinihintay namin.
But violence, vote-buying incidents, and malfunctioning vote-counting machines hound the 2019 midterm elections.
Nung una, galit ako talaga. Biro mo yung karapatan ko mawawala.
This is a special presentation of The Source, the Filipino Votes.
thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Filipinos took to the polls Monday, but its conduct was not without controversies, despite COMELEC's assessment that elections were generally peaceful. Uncooperative vote-counting machines, occasional power outages, long lines of voters, no one was spared from sporadic election woes, not even the candidates. Some local candidates were proclaimed before Monday ended, but a 7-hour delay in the system's transmission of votes raised concerns on the integrity of the polls. We go first to the Philippine International and Convention Center in Pasay City. Our Trisha Terada is there to tell us more about how the Commission on Elections is addressing these supposed glitches. Trisha.
Yes, Pinky, one glitch after the other. We have so many questions and we continue to seek answers. But from what we do know so far, Commissioner Marlon Casquejo, it points to a Java error. That is with regard to the sudden drop of the number of the transmitted election returns. Now, this is, from what we know, is technical in nature, but it's something that we still await explanation from the Commission on Elections. Now, in her social media account, Commissioner Rowena Guanzon tweeted that saying, quote, transparency server is working perfectly okay now. But as to the reason why this happened, we still have no answer. At any point now, as you can see behind me, the random manual audit team is already preparing for the drawing of the precincts that will participate with the random manual audit. And just to give you a quick refresher, COMELEC has already randomly selected 715 areas for the RMA. Now, this is a process that's checking the integrity of the automated elections. How do they do this? They check the results that are read manually versus the results of the automated elections. Now, these two are supposed to tally. If they don't, the RMA team will refer this to the technical team. Now, what the RMA team head, Commissioner Tito Diaz, assuring the public is that they will be transparent and honest with whatever observations they find here, so that just to ensure the integrity of these elections. Pinky?
Thanks a lot, Trisha Terada. Let's now go straight to the sources of this story. We have National Citizens Free Movement for Free Elections, or NAMFREL Chairman Gus Lagman and Lente, National Secretariat Head Attorney Carla Africa. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Good morning to you both. It's good to see you again. Carla. Chairman Gus, good to see you too. All right, let's first try to understand. Any one of you can help us understand the problem. JavaScript and the delay in the transmission. Can somebody explain that to us in layman's terms?
Apparently, I initially thought that the problem was transmission of the results from the field to the servers. But apparently, it's the COMELEC server had all of the data, but it could not share it with the transparency server and the media server. And it was only linked again at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I don't exactly know what happened. I was asleep at the time.
Oh, marami naman sa atin tulog, ano?
Yeah.
But what happened really, gentlemen, was that pumasok yung data at about until 6:15. And then
Yes.
6:15, CNN Philippines was, of course, covering this. Tuloy-tuloy siya, wala nang pumasok na bagong data. I believe until, if I'm not mistaken, 1 a.m. na. Yung susunod na
In the
batch.
morning,
So there
yeah.
was a lull of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 7 hours.
Yes.
And at 6, only 0.4% were entered. And then all of a sudden, at 1 o'clock, it was 80% or something. Those were the figures that I got from the text messages.
Is that a cause for concern? Nakakabahala ba yun?
So what we understand is, supposedly, what happens is that once the VCM, the vote counting machine, transmits the data, it transmits it directly into the 3 servers. It is worrisome because, at least to the public, because there's a discrepancy. And when there is a discrepancy, when something is not supposed to happen,
Yeah.
or something goes wrong, people lose trust into the system, people lose trust into the process. However, the law provides safeguards for us to actually be able to be confident still with the process despite errors like this. For example, the VCM already prints 8 election returns, which are distributed to different parties and different watchdogs, so that they can actually counter-check what is transmitted and what is actually like in the VCM. So that's one of the safeguards there. So in terms of actually just the integrity of what the data is transmitting, it can be safe to assume that there will be a match, and that's why we also have the random manual audit, which can hopefully be able to show an accurate results. But let's see.
715, I think,
Yes,
random
715.
manual audit. Also, for the benefit of our viewers, we have Lente and, of course, NAMFREL. It was a disappointment for a lot of people, Chairman Lagman, when we found out and we told the public that you were not going to be the citizens' arm of the COMELEC. This is the first time this has happened in how many years?
I think in 2010 that happened, but I can't remember the situation then. But this year we petitioned for a copy of the election data, and then to be able to do the manual audit, the random manual audit, and then of course the general monitoring of the conduct of elections. We were granted the third, which is
General monitoring.
general monitoring of the conduct of elections, and the 27th copy, printed copy of the election returns.
Can you say that again?
27th copy. And I'm talking printed copy. So before we can analyze that, we have to encode that, and this is something that we won't do.
Yeah. And because you were asking for such data that they did not give to you, the COMELEC did not give, dun ho kayo nag-decide na
Yeah, might as well not accredit us.
don't accredit the NAMFREL. But the work goes on, sir.
The work goes on.
Tell
And,
us what kind of work
there
NAMFREL did.
There are groups that are willing to share their data with us. So,
Such as?
fortunately, I can't tell you.
Why would that be legal? I mean, they can partner with you for...
You know, the election data is supposed to be public.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's supposed to be able to access that, you know. As a matter of fact, COMELEC should be putting that in their website so that anybody who wants to analyze the data can do so.
So there were groups and people who partnered with NAMFREL. How do you assess the conduct of the polls so far?
The conduct of the polls, that's not something that we do in every precinct anymore, unlike in 1984, 1986, because others are doing that already. So we don't have to do that. We do other things, like analyzing the election data, to find out whether there were early transmissions, because that has happened in the past, where a canvassing point would receive election returns before the president could send them, which means that it's coming from somewhere else.
True.
You know.
And so what did you analyze? What is the assessment so far of NAMFREL?
Well, not yet, because
Wala pa.
yeah.
Even no initial assessment still?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now let's go to Lente. NAMFREL and then Lente. Lente, exactly what did Lente do during the elections?
So Lente focused specifically on election day on specific monitoring for our vulnerable sectors. So dyan po yung ating mga persons with disabilities, senior citizens, heavily pregnant women, indigenous people, and yung mga detainees po natin. So Lente focused on that, on monitoring those, particularly yung emergency accessible polling places. So we were able to monitor them. And first off, it's a good project. Ang matagal ng problema, lalo ng BSK elections, we had senior citizens climbing 3 flights of stairs just to be able to vote. Nakita kami picture na binubuhat yung mga senior citizen para lang makaboto sila. So it's a good project by COMELEC. However, it was also marred by the same issues that marred the election as a whole. Na for example, yung mga ating electoral board members or yung mga support staff, hindi nila alam kung ano gagawin talaga sa proseso. At the same time, may mga ibang instances rin na yung vote counting machine hindi nga talaga gumana.
Yeah.
And kami, in elections kasi, for the public, important yung confidence. Important may confidence sila sa proseso, important that they know that things are happening. So because of the issues with the vote counting machine, even though it seems like it's a small number, because of the issues between what the person faces with the electoral board, na they don't know that actually if nasira yung vote counting machine, pwede na tago yung ballot. It's actually it's part of the process. Because people don't know this, nag-lose ng trust sa proseso. So kailangan ng accountability. But nasira yung vote counting machine, who's going to be accountable for that? What's the next step moving forward? And kailangan ng transparency. People must know what the process is, and people must know what's going on.
And we really need to find out because the center, very critical yesterday, a lot of reports came in regarding the vote counting machines, that they were broken, they were malfunctioning. And former Commissioner Goyo Larrazabal was saying that dapat nga by now, sanay na yung COMELEC. Para
full
bang,
time.
Oo. Ang sinasabi po niya, something like that should not have happened because in 2010, nag-automated elections tayo, 2013, 2016, 2019. By now, dapat parang expert na nga sila. However, he was quite disappointed because that did not happen yesterday. We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Administration candidates still leading in the latest partial results from the COMELEC. Meantime, no members of the opposition slate are included in the list. AC Nichols has the latest partial and unofficial tally for the senatorial race.
The PPCRB's quick count results have yet to move since the 5:20 update. Numbers show admin bets still dominating the senatorial race. Cynthia Villar stays on top with over 24 million votes, followed by Grace Poe with around 21 million votes, and Bongo a strong third with some 19.5 million votes. Rounding up the top 12 are Pia Cayetano, Bato de la Rosa, Sunny Angara, Lito Lapid, Amy Marcos, Francis Tolentino, Coco Pimentel, Nancy Binay, and Bong Revilla. Ocho derecho bets nowhere in the top 12, including Mar Rojas and re-electionist Bam Aquino. Meantime, only 8 party list groups so far have garnered at least 2% of the votes. That's the amount required for them to earn a seat in the House of Representatives. But there could be more who made it. The numbers still have to be reconciled and verified. Now, from 90+% transmission rate at 5:20 a.m., it apparently went back down to around 49% at 5:50 a.m. That's based on data coming through the media server. Let's see, or let's get the side of the PPCRV. We have with us here PPCRV Media Director, Ms. Agnes Hervancio. Ma'am, there seems to be discrepancy apparently in the 5:50 update. Can you confirm this?
Okay, our IT team has confirmed that there was indeed a transmission at 5:50, and right now it's being checked because they feel that the data is incomplete. They don't see any reason for them to be concerned. It's just that I think it's regular protocol, even for the media. When they receive the transparency server data, those are checked and rechecked for completeness. So that's the reason why we're still showing the 5:20 a.m. as of this time, is because these are the data that we know are complete.
Okay, so you're just basically trying to avoid confusion, which is why you're sticking with the 5:20 update for now.
That is correct. We are going through a checking process and make sure that we're avoiding any reason for people to be confused, and further, sending in questions why the results are as such.
Have you heard from...
Now on the line, Ocho Derecho senatorial candidate Romy Macalintal. Attorney, good morning to you.
Magandang umaga, Pinky, and good morning sa lahat ng mga tagapakinig.
Kamusta po kayo, sir?
Okay lang. Ito, natalo, pero magandang pagkatalo.
Ano po? Natalo pero?
Maganda naman ang pagkatalo.
Maganda. Bakit po maganda ang inyong pagkatalo, Attorney Romy Mac?
At least I had this very rewarding experience of offering my services to the people as a public servant. But it appears that the people had other better choices, and I always respect the choice made by our electorate.
Kayo ho ba, pagkatapos ng lahat ng pagod ninyo at puyat at hirap, wala man lang konting sama ng loob o hinanakit dahil hindi ho kayo nakapasok sa Magic 12?
Ay, wala akong samaan ng loob. Actually, okay, tinatanggap ko agad ang pagkatalo. As early as 2 o'clock in the morning, sabi ko sa misis ko at saka sa mga anak ko, okay na tayo. Let's drink to that. Dahil sa at least nalaman na natin ang ating kalagayan as early as 2 o'clock in the morning. Kaya wala na tayong problema. Ako kasi, alam mo naman ako, I'm an election lawyer. In previous elections, losers in the election had always been coming to me, but I always advise them, accept defeat in good grace. Huwag nating sirain ang mga electoral processes dahil sa baseless allegations that you were cheated. If I believe that my client had really lost the election, I always advise them na tanggapin mo ng pagkatalo at subukan na lang natin next time. And so I don't want to veer away from that principle.
Yeah.
Kaya I immediately conceded defeat, and I sent already my email. I emailed already my statement conceding my defeat and congratulating the winners in this election.
Ano ho ba, Attorney Romy Mac, yung sinasabi ng mga kandidato? Meron, what is that saying? May dalawang klaseng...
ng kandidato, isang nanalo at isang nadaya.
Ayun, yung isang nanalo. Wala kayo doon, hindi ho kayo nanalo at hindi din ho kayo dinaya.
Andun ako sa talagang natalo.
Apo.
Andun ako doon sa kandidato na kinikilala ang desisyon ng ating taong bayan, at I respect the decision of the people. Kung ano mang uri ng pagboto ang kanilang ginawa, that's part of their democratic rights. At yan ay hindi natin pwedeng questionin. We cannot question the right of the people and their choice of people who will lead us. At kung anong mangyayari sa bayan natin, well, that's the kind of leaders that we have elected.
What's the biggest lesson you learned from this election? I ask you that, Attorney Romy Mac, kasi napag-usapan po natin before na makailang beses na rin kayong hinikayat na tumakbo sa past elections. And really, this is the first time that you took on the challenge. What's the best thing you learned from running?
Hindi lang, you don't depend on the leaders, your political leaders, but you really have to depend on the people. Kasi nung una, ang akala ko, di bale, abogado ng mga anak ko, ng mga politiko, ng mga governors, ng mga mayors of different provinces, And they promised that they would be helping me. And I thought that I could convert this to votes, But I learned na hindi rin pwede yung ganun lang. You have to go directly to the people and know their what they want, Ano ba ang choices nila? And if they really know you, the leaders may know the candidate, but you have to really determine if the voters know the candidate.
Do you think that in the future you would still be open to running again?
No, hindi na siguro. I'm already 72 now. I'll be 75 next election.
Okay.
Yung mga apo ko nga, nagtatampo na sa akin. Kaya ngayon, balik na naman tayo sa ating pagiging apostolate. Yung mga apo ko, kailangan ipasyal ko na ulit sa mall.
All right. Attorney Romy Mac, sir, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you. And our guests here in the studio, let's go back to them. NAMFREL Chairman Gus Lagman and Lente National Secretariat Head Attorney Carlo Africa. You were talking about the vote counting machines prior to the break. Attorney Carlo was talking about that. Chairman Lagman, are you concerned?
Haba masyado.
Hirap po eh. Are you concerned about that? Nung nababalitaan niyo po throughout the day na medyo marami-rami po yung mga reports. Although, if we try to put it in context, so far ang sinabi po ni spokesperson James Jimenez from last I heard, we're looking at what, 400 to 600 vote counting machines that malfunctioned out of a total of 85,000.
Less than 1%.
Yes.
Yeah. But I've always been an advocate of manual vote counting because, as a matter of fact, there are many countries that have gone back to manual vote counting from automated counting. Because automated vote counting, I'm not talking of canvassing. Canvassing, it's okay.
You can
That should
automate
be
the
automated,
canvassing, yeah.
And electronic transmission. But the vote counting, to me, should be manual so that the people can witness the counting and they understand what's being done, what's going on. Unlike with automated vote counting, you feed your ballot and then you don't know what happened, and then out comes the results.
And you can take a picture of your ballot and you can take a picture of the receipt.
Yeah.
Di ba?
But to me, it's the vote counting should be witnessed by the people.
But to some people, that is a very backward approach. Would you agree?
I think there are pros and cons for automated and for manual. For manual, it's there. Like, you actually see what's happening. You see, like, there's no lack of trust with all of this data. It's because it's a technical issue. So people are, I guess, intimidated by it. However, with manual vote counting, with automated, it has supposedly eradicated wholesale fraud, supposedly. So from before, with what I remember before was that people would used to steal ballot boxes as a whole.
Yeah.
Like dagdag bawas sila, they stuff the ballot, which is the result of, because that's the way you supposedly win an election or cheat an election for manual vote counting. However, because of automated, naging talamak naman yung vote buying.
Right.
Nag-shift from wholesale electoral fraud to retail electoral fraud.
Because they're saying now it's so hard to cheat with an automated election. Do you agree, Gus?
It's easier. If you're an insider, it's very much easier. You just change the SD card. And that's the equivalent of ballot box stuffing. It can be.
And that's small.
Yeah. And it's so easy. The technician can say, there's something wrong with the machine, and I'll bring it out, I'll change the SD card, and that's it. It's much easier. And you're saying, is that backward? Germany is backward. Netherlands is backward. Ireland is backward. They all went back to manual counting.
And because the reason for that is?
Transparency.
Because people want to see their votes actually counted.
Yes.
Really, that's what they want. However, if we look back into history in the past elections, pagka gano'n naman, pagka nagkakabilangan, there were problems such as, number one, harassment, brownout, yung mga kandila na, we have to light candles para lang bantayan. At saka punong-puno talaga yung ng mga members of the different political parties and the local candidates themselves during the counting.
I think whatever system we do have, whether manual or automated, what is clear is that we have to have a stronger electoral management body. We have to have a stronger COMELEC. They're the ones managing this election. They're the ones who is supposed to espouse trust to the people.
Right.
So whatever system yung maganda sa Philippines, kailangan strong yung processes natin, kailangan strong yung pag-manage sa system na to.
some senators have tweeted, gentlemen, that what happened to the COMELEC because they gave the COMELEC a budget of 10 billion. So ang tanong, I remember seeing a tweet from Senator Joel Villanueva, I believe, and Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, parang nasa na yung 10 billion. Should there be some sort of investigation? Definitely there will be some sort of accounting. Pero because of these problems, and we're not just talking about vote counting machines. We're also talking about SD cards. We're also talking about, ito na nga, itong, well, I don't know what the right word to call it, yung hindi transmit na lang nung data from the COMELEC transparency server to the other servers. What should be done, Chairman?
You're right. They should review the expenses because remember they already bought those machines, so there's no rental to pay for. And SD cards are not that expensive. You know, you're only talking of some 80,000 SD cards. That's not expensive. It's the machines. But then, nabili na eh. So they don't have to spend for that anymore. No? So you're only talking of people expenses. No, you have to pay the teachers. You have to pay the. And I don't know what their budget is now, but I don't know. But wala na dapat yun. They should really be reviewed.
Yeah.
So I think yung isang problem rin, it's like, it seems like it's a big number, 10 billion is a big number. Pero ang laki rin ng proseso ng ating elections. Na for example, yung, at least kami sa nakukuha namin reports on the ground when we talk to our election officers, even in between elections, kasi yung ginagawa ni Lente, makita mo talaga may problema ang bawat local election officer. Like for example, some of them wala silang office. Naka-house sila sa isang sa city hall ng ating local candidates. So like
they become beholden.
Yun palang mali na yun eh,
exactly.
diba? Yeah. All right, we're going to talk about that a little later on again. But for now, we're going to have to say thank you to NAMFREL Chairman Gus Lagman, but Attorney Africa will still be with us. We'll be taking a short break. Good to see you, Chairman Gus. We'll see you again, sir. This is the Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. We now go to the local elections. In Quezon City, incumbent Vice Mayor Joy Belmonte is set to be proclaimed as the new mayor, defeating her toughest rival, Congressman Bing Bong Crisologo. Our Zian Arcangel joins us live from Quezon City. Zian, how big is Joy Belmonte's lead against Congressman Crisologo?
Pinky, a Belmonte is back as mayor of Quezon City, winning by a huge margin in a 10-man race. Vice Mayor Joy Belmonte, daughter of former Quezon City Mayor and Speaker Sonny Belmonte, was proclaimed Quezon City's new mayor after getting over 469,000 votes. She led the mayoralty contest with over 130,000 votes more over her closest rival, Congressman Bingbong Crisologo. Belmonte's running mate, Councilor Gian Soto, was proclaimed the new vice mayor of Quezon City after getting 382,393 votes. The son of Senate President Tito Soto was ahead by close to 39,000 votes from the second placer, lawyer Jopet Sison. Cheers and claps greeted Belmonte and Soto after they were announced as the new mayor and vice mayor, respectively, of Quezon City. Local election officials waited until election results from all precincts in the city were canvassed before proclaiming Belmonte and Soto as winners. Canvassing slowed down past Tuesday midnight due to transmission failure. Because of this, the contents of the SD cards had to be uploaded manually at the canvassing center. Right now, Belmonte and Soto are celebrating with their supporters and other local officials who won the local race in Quezon City. Pinky?
Thanks a lot, Zian Arcangel. Our guest here in the studio now, still International Secretariat Head Attorney Carlo African, joining him, PNP spokesperson Bernard Bana. Colonel, good morning to you, and thank you also for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Ms. Pinky.
So we already have a mayor for Quezon City, rather proclaimed mayor for Quezon City, that's Joy Belmonte. And so obviously, Sunday night, we reported the news on her rival, Congressman Bingbong Crisologo. Sir, what happened there? I know that it's unjust fixation, obstruction of justice in relation to an alleged vote-buying incident. What is the latest on this?
That's right. Congressman Crisologo was charged with unjust fixation and obstruction of justice, and the charge was filed in court in the prosecutor's office. And the latest is that he was released for further investigation. And but the case is still pending, because the case is filed in court, and the evidences are there supporting the charge. But in the meantime, he is released for further investigation.
What is the evidence, sir? What do you have?
Well, the fact that he obstructed the lawful performance of our police officers who are just doing their job of implementing the election laws on vote buying, and he just came over and then tried to block the path of our police officers who just arrested some of the suspects for vote buying. And so there was
because of a complaint told to the police of an alleged vote-buying incident.
That's correct.
So pumunta po doon yung kapulisan. Pagkatapos, humarang po.
And then he came, and then he talked to these supporters, and then suddenly he ordered for the blocking or the padlocking of the gate, and so the officers could not go out. And so that was a clear violation, an obstruction of justice.
Pero yun pa rin, sir, for further investigation on
Yes,
obstruction of justice charge. All right, vote buying. Can you give us the latest from the PNP, sir? Latest data.
Part of the success of our security operations during the midterm polls is the overwhelming support of the Filipino people. And part of that, of course, is the overwhelming reports on vote buying and vote selling, and we got swamped with lots of reports, and we tried to respond to all these reports. On
how many reports did you get, sir?
Well, we cannot really tell, but our lines are full, our text messages, the inboxes are full, and much as we'd like to respond to all these complaints, but we can only do so much because we are also maintaining security in all the polling places and in all the areas where we are supposed to conduct security operations. And as of yesterday, the polling day, we had recorded a total of 441 violators of...
Can you repeat that, sir?
441 violators of vote buying and vote selling. And of course that includes Congressman Crisologo in that number, and they were all charged for violation of this election law, and many of them also got released for further investigation.
So that's 441.
That's correct.
Other data, Colonel, meron po sa arrested on the liquor ban.
That's correct. Sir. The liquor ban ended last night, and 1,218 violators nationwide were recorded. And we made the announcement days before, weeks before, that there's going to be a liquor ban. But unfortunately, some of our people, they just ignored the warnings and then disobeyed the law. So still, they drank liquors in the sidewalks, in the sari-sari stores.
Huli sila.
So they got arrested.
Gun ban, sir.
Well, for the gun ban, it remains in effect until June 12 for the entire election period. So we remind the public that carrying of firearms is unlawful during this period.
Colonel, can you give us situations in certain areas, for example, sir, in Cotabato City? From last I heard, there were 2 explosions there
That's
Monday,
correct.
and I think there was a third one.
There's another one.
Yeah,
Right.
can you give us an update there?
Well,
and then I think it was in the same venue where the first explosion was.
Right. So the security there in Cotabato and Maguindanao is very intense. In fact, the military and the police are there also providing security. And this is the reason why the area is placed under COMELEC control, primarily because of the presence of threat groups who just want to disrupt or create fear or sow terror. And this local terrorist group has been there for a long time, but we've been running after them. And,
Who is this?
This is the breakaway of the BIFF, the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters. And every now and then they just, come out and then just create some trouble. But we're really trying our best to run after them and then put them behind bars.
But Colonel, that's 3 explosions in, I don't know, sir, maybe 24 to 48 hours?
Right. And you see, the situation there, it's really kind of guard everyone, And that's why our campaign against loose firearms and explosives is very intense. And we intensify it some more because of these incidents. Aside from this, of course, relatively, the general situation all over the country is peaceful and orderly. And we thank the public. We give the credit to the public for this accomplishment.
Colonel, any area that is talagang tinitingnan pa at binabantayan pa ng kapulisan?
Yeah, at this point, the whole of Mindanao, of course, it remains under martial law. And based on the COMELEC resolutions, it is under the red category. Red category meaning area of grave concern. So
Grave concern.
That's correct.
All right. Colonel Banak was talking about vote buying. 441 buying and selling, pinagsama na yan. What are your thoughts on this? Dumami ba ang vote buying? Because some are actually assuming there's more incidents now because of the automated elections. Would you agree?
For sure, because of the shift towards an automated election, dumami yung vote buying. But nagsimula tayo 2010 pa lang. So, but for our perspective, yung reports of vote buying from this election to the last couple of elections, pareho lang. Like, ang dami pa rin. Marami talaga. But ang ganda nga na ginawa ng PNP, na they were actually more proactive in actually going around the areas, seeing reports and like, ano ba talaga, may vote buying ba? Kasi actually sometimes, ano talaga, like apparent talaga, like, wala na silang pake, like talagang vote buying.
Very blatant.
Yeah, blatant na. So, but I would be interested to take a look kung ano pa yung parity process in terms of which report yung habulin natin, which report yung hindi. Kasi yun yung problema namin sa Lente. We get so many reports, hindi namin alam if like kaya ba, pupunta kami doon, tapos bilang wala pa rin nangyari.
Maybe we can ask Colonel Banak there, sa dami ng mga nag-report ng incidents of vote buying and selling, ano nga ba ang kanilang inuuna? We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest here in the studio, Lente National Secretariat Head, Attorney Carlo Africa, and PNP spokesperson Bernard Bana. Colonel, we left that question hanging. Nagtanong nga din si Attorney Africa. Sa dami daw ng mga natanggap ninyo, sabi mo, puno na yung inbox ninyo. I'm sure the lines were burning. How do you choose which one to first attend to?
Well, immediately we respond to such requests by communicating immediately to our lower units, and if they are there on the spot, performing election duties or securing the area, and then they will be the ones to respond and verify the information. And if on the spot they see that there are evidences and that the suspects are there, so immediately they effect the arrest. Otherwise, if they see that there are no evidences and there are no suspects, then we just let it go and then, observe another day.
But here's my question, sir. Sa time, doon sa pagitan ng oras na isinumbong sa inyo,
Right.
at sinabi nyo doon sa unit ninyo,
Yes.
tapos sabihin natin allegedly, namimigay ng envelope. By the time they get there, sir, baka tapos na po yung pamimigay ng envelope at pera.
Yes, a lot of times that's the case. But so that's why we have to be very quick. So when we receive the report, immediately we communicate down to the lower units and then
Agad-agad.
dispatch some of our cops to check and verify the information.
Colonel, what was the biggest? I know you're saying 441 were arrested for buying and selling. Saan ho yung pinakamalaking?
In NCR, in the NCR. That's where we get the biggest number of arrests here in Metro Manila.
Attorney.
For us, actually, ano siya, different, iba-iba. So there are people, as to reports, may nakuha kami in the NCR, but at the same time, namin nakuha outside of it. But I guess iba-iba yung style niyan eh. Ibang people...
Ano nga ba mga style? Pakikwento nga.
Ibang people, I think, sa loob ng bahay, doon like, mapapasukin muna sa bahay ng isang person, tapos doon na-distribute yung pera, tapos sa loob ng envelope, may kasamang sample ballot,
Okay.
saka staple yung pera, parang gano'n. So, may mga gano'n talaga silang
So,
style. Yeah.
if they were to buy the vote, how can they assure na gagawin nga nila yun sa balota? Yun ang tanong ko.
Okay, what we actually say is that, actually, mga candidates natin, meron silang, they have a right to have watchers in every polling place, yung mga classroom natin. Kaya very important na yung watcher dapat nasa harap ng classroom. If yung watcher nasa likod kasi, makikita nila kung sino pwede mong iboto eh. So yun yung way nila of checking, binoto ba niya or hindi. And some people...
So, papanoorin ka?
Pwede, yes.
Aha. Eh, may folder ka eh. Yung iba wala.
Yung ibang ways eh, yeah. At the same time, ginagawa ng people, imbis na boto mo to, alam ka nila na boboto ka sa kalaban, babayaran ka nila, tapos lalagyan ka nila ng indelible ink. So hindi ka na makaboto.
Yun ang mga modus.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna be taking another short break. We'll be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest here in the studio, Lente National Secretariat Head, Attorney Carlo Africa, and PNP spokesperson Bernard Bana. Attorney Africa and I were talking for those who may be interested. Kailan ba nabuo ang Lente? Anong taon?
So yung Lente nabuo siya noong 2007 kasi nakita nga ng tao ng yung 2004, the election before that, na kailangan ng isang group of people na may competence on the law, yung batas, lalo na yung procedures of it, kasi ang dami intimidated by it eh. So because of that, nagkumpul-kumpul yung different lawyers, paralegals, and law students to create this group of people na yung goal nila is to use their legal background to actually protect the elections.
Is there anything very different about this election na napansin ng Lente compared to the past elections?
So yung one, I guess, medyo weird thing that we were able to observe, in 2016, at around 12 midnight or at around 1 a.m., nagsimula na yung mga tawag sa amin na ito, hinahakot na kami, nagbebenta na ng boto, parang gano'n. But for this election, weirdly enough, yung first reports namin, nakuha namin at around mga 4 a.m. So medyo kasi we were prepared na, okay, lalabas yung mga reports na lalabas na sila.
Eh baka pumunta sila sa PNP instead?
Actually, nga naisip ko, like, the impact of like the PNP, like just being very upfront, na this election we're focusing on vote buying.
Yeah.
So like siguro nakita nila, ay, PNP tayo pumunta.
Yun ang siguro na unang naging priority ng mamamayan, ano, Colonel? All right, what is ano po ang focus pa rin ng PNP ngayon moving forward, sir? With the elections,
Right. The election period is still until June 12. So we maintain the checkpoint operations, the COMELEC checkpoint operations, and implementing the gun ban. Of course.
So don't forget that is still in effect
and
until June 12.
The employment of private security bodyguards, that's still prohibited under this period.
Private armed groups?
Yes. And then we continue to pursue our campaign against private armed groups and loose firearms. And the anti-criminality campaign will continue. And we will also be preparing now for the opening of classes on June 3.
So, yun naman ang susunod.
2 weeks from now. So we are now preparing, and as we wind up the election period, we still have 3 weeks to go. We assure the public that PNP will always be there to serve and protect them, and we thank them on behalf of the PNP, General Oscar David Albayalde, for the support of the public over the PNP and then the AAFP, of course, and then the COMELEC, for giving us the support and cooperating with our security operations.
Colonel, marami pa hubang tumatawag sa PNP ngayon?
Well, the calls have stopped suddenly. And, but our lines are still open, of course, anytime.
How about Lente?
Same for us, yeah. But
the calls have stopped.
May mga nagpo-post pa rin sa Facebook, tagging us, may mga gagawa ba dito. Ginagawa namin right now, if we're talking to them, if game sila gumawa ng affidavit, meaning yung personal say nila of what they actually saw, same first step to actually filing a case.
But you can help them with that.
Yes, we can help them in writing the affidavit, trying to tell them what evidence is needed. Yeah, we can help them with that.
Okay. Attorney Carla Africa and Colonel Banak. Gentlemen, maraming salamat po sa inyong dalawa. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.